Welcome to part 3, the future, where we're going. I'm just going to ask the question. We've talked a lot about programming and algorithms and all that type of stuff. But Don, how long does it take to build a new integration?
I get that question quite a bit, especially from the sales team.
I would imagine.
So it really depends on the integration partner. That's what it boils down to. Like there could be certain integrations that can take only a week to build, and certain integrations that can take up to a month to build. But over time, since we are now integrated with so many partners, we have a fairly robust process on our end when it comes down to integrating. And from the technology perspective, like we have been fairly quick. Like our last integration we completed within 2 weeks and launched it into the market.
Do we need to use two platforms with Pitstop? Because when we talk about the integration, is it integration of data or is it integration of viewing?
Right. So this again depends on the integration partner. For instance, for Geotab, they have a really nice marketplace environment. So what they have is this thing called an add-in. So we built an add-in for Geotab customers. So it's like installing an app in iOS or in your phone. So they can install the Pitstop application, which is pretty much the same dashboard that we have, but it sits within the Geotab ecosystem. So what that helps the Geotab customer with is that they don't need to have like separate login credentials for Pitstop. So it's a single sign-on. They just have to click on the Pitstop app, and it takes them directly into the insights that Pitstop is generating. Versus with some other integration partners, they will not have a marketplace kind of approach. In that scenario, they have to log into Pitstop platform, but at the same time, they are set up with those uh, critical major alert emails that they subscribe to, so they always get alerted from Pitstop within their uh, like in their inbox.
So how do you guys prioritize your new partners?
The number one thing is looking at like the business case around it, right? Like let's say how many fleets did we encounter with this certain type of telematics in the past. So we have a database that we constantly log this information. And then second, which is also extremely important, is the data quality and the sensor data that this particular integration will support. So like let's say even if we build out that integration, can we even run some of our algorithms on, or can we run some of our algorithms, or can we provide those insights to those fleet customers with that particular telematic device?
I'm going to throw this over to Chris as a chief science officer. How do you decide which features and algorithms to build next? Because, I would imagine that list would be really, really long.
Well, you're right. We do oftentimes have a long wish list, but it tends to get quickly narrowed down because we want to address common problems that the customers actually have. So we do talk to them and listen carefully to what they're telling us about what problems are most frequent. That's how we ended up, looking at diesel exhaust system, looking at battery, and looking at brakes. So that's one thing. And then the second very important factor is the quality of the data, as Vedant was mentioning. So what that means is, do you get certain PIDs that are relevant from an engineering point of view? Do you get them on every trip? Do you get them every 10 seconds? Do you get them once every 5 minutes, and so on? So, sometimes we have to say no because we can't be confident that the algorithm will satisfy our quality standards. But that's basically how we make the decision. And sometimes we can get creative and use data which is maybe a little unconventional from an engineering point of view.
So guys, how do you test out new data science feature?
Well, there's two kinds of answer to that question. One is just from a software point of view, where obviously you want to make sure all your code is correct. You want to make sure it's displaying the right quantities at the right time, and the data is coming in the way you expect it to come in, and so forth. But the other set of questions has to do with the data science itself. Is it making the right predictions? Is it predicting failures about as often as we would expect, and is it predicting them in a timely way? So in order to do that, we really have to do studies looking at service data, and sometimes correlating with DTCs and so forth.
Yeah, maybe Chris can talk about like the first algorithm when he was building that out. I still remember those days.
Yeah, we did start out small, and at the beginning of the Pitstop adventure, we were looking at consumer vehicles, and we were plugging in these Bluetooth devices made in China into consumer vehicles. So I can remember contorting myself into strange shapes trying to insert these devices into, you know, used cars in the dead of winter. It was an adventure, but it was, you know, the first step in a long journey, and we've come a long way since then.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Vedant, Chris, you guys have, you know, shared some phenomenal information with us over the past 3 Fireside Chats, and I want to personally thank you for providing that information so that people understand what Pitstop Connect is about, and Pitstop in general, and also the efforts that goes to protect the security, the integrity of the process, and to make sure that in the end, the customer has a product that they can use and use wisely without data overload, or as Vedant had said, just noise. So please feel free to reach out to us on our website at pitstopconnect.com. In the end, predictive analytics are the next level within the telematics world.